TFL EV is brought to you by Flow Charger, maker of reliable, high-quality charging stations for your electric vehicle.
Hey guys, I'm here at the 2023 Work Truck Show in Indianapolis, and I have a very special vehicle for you from a Colorado-based company, Lightning eMotors, which is this Class 4, basically large General Motors van chassis. And I have Nick from the company. Hey Nick.
Hello, how you doing?
Nick, please introduce yourself really quick.
Certainly. I'm Nick Bettis. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Sales Operations at Lightning eMotors.
Well, cool, dude. So I've seen you've done, Class 3 vehicles on Ford chassis, right?
Right.
So this is something new. Can you tell me a little bit about this?
Yeah, we just launched this. We're already shipping these out the door. So this is a Class 4. We call it a ZEV4 is the class of it. This is a cutaway. So this vehicle can be used in a variety of use cases, ranging from work trucks, service bodies on them, box trucks, school buses, shuttle buses, any kind of dump beds on the back of these things can be used in a number of different ways. And what we do with this is we take the chassis and we either receive it without, or we remove the internal combustion engine, the gas tank, the exhaust system, and we replace it with an all-electric zero-emission powertrain that we manufacture in Loveland, Colorado.
Okay, so you're near where TFL is based.
Yes,
we're in Boulder, Colorado.
We're about 30 miles apart.
A lot of people, forget that General Motors still has the Express and Savannah chassis, and they're very popular in those markets you mentioned.
They are, yeah, especially the school bus market in particular. The school bus market loves them because they're a very safe vehicle. GM is extremely adamant that there are redundant safety features on these. And anytime you're working around students and parents, you don't want to take any risks on them. So it's very popular. I think 90% of the Type A school buses in America are actually on the GM 4500 chassis.
Sweet. All right, so like you said, so there's no more internal combustion engine,
Yep,
so
that's
gone.
Yep.
So the main component is the battery, right? Tell me about the battery system.
Yeah, so this particular vehicle has got 4, and these are manufactured by Proterra. So this has got 2 40 kilowatt hour Proterra batteries in it, and then 2 more on the back end down there for a total of 120 kilowatt hours. So these batteries are manufactured in the US by Proterra. Very high quality batteries, sealed, so they can be submerged underwater. They qualify for all of the various certifications for safety as far as electronics underwater. They're all liquid cooled, thermally managed, cooled and heated. So there are serpentine lines that run through the batteries that will either heat or cool the battery depending on how they're being used at a given time. A battery will be comfortable at the same temperature you or I would be comfortable in, 70, 80 degrees, and it will keep them in those ranges so that the batteries are optimal as far as their efficiency, as well as preventing any kind of a thermal runaway event. So just absolutely wonderful batteries. We've got a great relationship with Proterra, and we look forward to that continuing.
So, like you said, there's 2 modules. They're kind of double stacked. You can kind of see that, and it doesn't protrude too much downward, right?
No, yeah. The clearance is largely the same as what it would be in an internal combustion engine because of those batteries. Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll show the rear batteries in a second. Let's talk about the motor since we're here. So the motor is central here, right?
Yeah, we mounted it midships here, so all the power electronics, the inverters and the converters and the various pieces are in the engine bay where the engine used to be, and then we mount the motor in midships. And the reason for putting the motor here is if we left it where it was originally, then these batteries wouldn't be able to be here because the drive shaft would be here. So in older versions of our products, these batteries were mounted outside the frame rails, and we would do that, but there's a number of advantages to having them between the frame rails. One is safety, or perceived safety at least. So in a side collision, you don't want those batteries to be the first thing to get hit. So putting them between gives them an extra sense of safety, even though the framework we put around them before was very robust, but this is just extra. And then there's a perception piece of safety as well that fleets expect, that they just like that between the rails. So,
and then the motor is here.
Yeah, so the motor here, this is all the same rear end as a GM. We don't replace any of this. We simply put the motor in. It's a Borg-Warner motor, put a new shorter drive shaft in. This is an additional brake system that they put in to cover as we mentioned before, for extra safety. And that's...
so there's a park feature on the transmission, but
on the
also
transmission,
the extra brake.
Secondary. Yeah.
And there's a reduction gear. What about power level as far as this electric motor?
Yeah, this has actually got more torque and more power than a gasoline equivalent. So this vehicle will get up and go better than anything else, anything that's a similar vehicle with gasoline. So extremely powerful.
And a small drive shaft going back.
Yep.
And what about payload capacities on this compared to an internal combustion vehicle?
So there's going to be a little bit of a reduction in payload because of the battery weight, because these batteries run about 500 pounds a piece for the larger ones, and these I don't know what these are, but they're smaller. But so yeah, you're going to definitely see a reduction. Now the motor, the accessory bank, all of those pieces are lighter, so it offsets some of that, but it doesn't offset all of it. So you may lose 500 pounds, 1,000 pounds of payload. But honestly,
it's acceptable
it's
for
acceptable.
Some of those applications?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, when you consider the operating cost savings you're going to get, the safety features, as well as the clean air that comes out of these things, it's a trade-off that most fleets are more than happy to make.
So there's 80 kilowatt hours there, and 20 or 40 more back here.
Yeah, back here. Yep.
So a total of 120.
120 on this, yeah, and this will get about 130 miles of range.
Okay,
Yeah.
for like a school bus application?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is plenty for, how many miles does a school bus on average go?
Yeah, I want
Not
to say
much.
it's about 35, 40 miles a day. So it is one of the absolutely best use cases for fleet electrification that there is for a number of different reasons.
Do you have different options? Like if somebody wants fewer batteries, do you do some
Not
of that?
currently not on this model. On our
Okay.
ZEV3, the vehicle built on the Ford Transit platform, we have 3 different battery options for that. We have a 1 Proterra, 40 kilowatt battery, a 2 and a 3, and the 1 battery is very niche as far as its use cases. We've sold a lot of those vehicles into Manhattan with DHL. They use them because they only drive about 20 miles a day. So they drive a block and go up 47 floors and come down and go another block and rinse and repeat. So it's a great use case, save them money, super reliable. The 2 battery is good for certain applications, and the 3 battery is generally what you look at if you're looking at more urban or rural, applications where you need to go a little bit further. So that vehicle will get up to 200 miles of range on it. So
Okay, I gotcha.
but this model only has the 1 configuration right now, and we just feel like, based on feedback from the market, that this is plenty of miles for.
And this is how you
use case.
engineered it, basically.
Yes, correct.
And they're produced in Colorado.
They are, yeah. We build all the powertrain components here. We do our own wire harnessing. We do our own all the framework, all the software is all produced in Colorado. We use, where it makes sense, we use components that have millions or hundreds of millions of miles on them. We go ahead and utilize that experience from other manufacturers, like the Borg-Warner motor, for example. But we do as much as manufacturing in-house as we can.
Very cool. And then when you talk about kind of charging infrastructure and also cost of this vehicle, so maybe we can step back so we can kind of see it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So what about charging infrastructure? And you have a mobile charger solution as well.
Yeah, that's brand new too. Well, it's actually not brand new. Generation 2 is brand new. So we as a company have decided that let me take a step back. The key to charging is for fleets is the recognition that they don't use public charging, right? Public charging is, while getting much better over time, it's still got a long ways to go to be as reliable as it needs to be for a fleet to bank their business on it. So most fleets will install their own charging infrastructure at their facility. So we as a company have decided we want to help our customers do that. So we offer our own chargers as well. I think this is a DC fast charger, an 80 kilowatt DC fast charger that we can install with the customer. We can go to the customer. We can help them with permitting, with trenching, with working with the utilities, get the chargers, install them, and get them up and running as quickly as possible with those things. Now, what we see periodically is that the utilities may be 12, 18 months out before enough power can be brought to the site to accommodate a fleet. While the fleets still want to do the electrification of their fleet now, they can't do it because there's no charging there. So that's when our mobile charging unit comes into play. So we've got customers that had that exact situation in California. and they lease 2 of our mobile charging units, and this is basically a battery bank on wheels. So think of a couple of 100 kilowatt hours of batteries on a trailer that can be brought out, has 4 outputs, a DC fast charger outputs on the back end of it. You can take that off site, charge it up at DC fast charge, bring it back on site, plug it into 4 vehicles, and then just rotate those through. And that allows fleets to get up and running more quickly if there are power site problems with getting enough power onto the site. So.
Yeah, that's showing the school bus body basically right there.
Yeah, this runs through all the different, we kind of came in the middle there, so that's the work truck body. So yeah, work trucks, shuttle buses, box trucks, utility bodies, dump beds. We've got customers that are buying these with dump beds on them as well. So really, once we do the electrification on this cutaway, as long as the upfit's not going to interfere with where we put batteries or some of the power components, this can become about anything somebody would want it to be. And that's one of the keys to the medium duty market for us, is the ability to accommodate so many different use cases. This is not the Class 8 tractor trailer space. This is not so much the Class 1 or 2 pickup space. In this space, everybody wants something just a little bit different. They want a different lift. They want a different air conditioning unit. They want a reefer unit on the box. There's a number of different things that they could want on this, and we want to be able to accommodate all of those use cases. So.
All right, well, and then finally, let's talk about both maintenance and cost of a vehicle, right?
Yeah. So maintenance, we call it the fleet electrification equation, and there's 6 variables in it. One of those is maintenance. So it's vehicles, charging, maintenance, software, telematics, which all of our vehicles have standard as well, financing and grants. So we can help with all 6 of those components. On the service side, I have a number of options. We have some national partners that we're working with to train them on to be able to provide service for our vehicles. More commonly with fleets, what we see is one of 2 things. They either want their technicians to learn how to do the maintenance on these things, which is fairly easy for us to go in and train, so we do that. Other option is that they may have a maintenance facility near them that has always provided their service for their vehicles. We're happy to go in and train that service provider as well. And in a lot of cases,
while we're doing it.
Yeah, a lot of cases the maintenance techs love that because they get training on the newest technology and a new skill set to take into their career. So. Well,
obviously, I mean, some of the high voltage components require certification, like you said. Special training. Mm-hmm. But like, I think I can remove these 4 bolts myself.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, pull those bolts out. Yeah, the motor's right here. If for some reason, and the motor's one of the most reliable components, but you pull this plate off, you can drop that motor out. Put a new one in, you bolt it in, connect the wires, and you're kind of off and running again. So these vehicles, from a maintenance perspective, are really a rip and replace, rather than going in and trying to rebuild a tranny or.
And actually, motor costs are not that high, right?
No,
a lot of the cost is actually in the battery. Is that true?
Yeah, the majority of the cost of our product is in the batteries. And while battery packs historically have been coming down in cost, during COVID and supply chain issues, they started to creep back up. But we anticipate those are going to continue to fall over time as commodity prices kind of level out.
So then, of course, the purchasing cost of this vehicle is more expensive than a comparable combustion engine.
It is, yeah. The batteries are, they're not inexpensive. One of my favorite comments that I make is, lithium-ion battery is never going to be cheaper than an aluminum gas tank, even if it's filled with gasoline from Hawaii at $5.60 a gallon. So they are more expensive. They run, double to more, a little bit more the cost of an internal combustion engine. But there are no shortage of grants associated with these. You've got the school bus space. The EPA has got wonderful grants in that space. The FTA for transit authorities. The Inflation Reduction Act offers $40,000 for this level of vehicle. $40,000 in tax credits or cash credits for nonprofits. And then states have all got, many of the states have got their own grant programs that can offset the cost as well. So in a lot of cases, you can get down to price parity with gasoline on these. In some cases, you can get down to the electric versions of these vehicles are actually cheaper than, and in some cases, you can actually get to zero in a school bus. You can get free school bus out of it.
Depending on the incentives.
Right, with the incentives. Yeah. And who doesn't want, both a budget relief for a school district as well as cleaner air for the students. Yeah, that's just a win-win for everybody.
All right, well, very cool. Since you guys are in Colorado, I hope to drive one of your machines.
Absolutely.
And also over here in Indianapolis,
we've got
Ford chassis here.
Yeah, we've got our Transit out in the ride and drive. We'll take you out there and get you a ride, and hopefully we can get you up to level, and we'll give you a tour.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, Nick. I
You bet.
really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.